Let's address the question of Uhuru's friends. Okay? If people want to interrogate, look at the people he chose to be with him in the key offices. They are the sons of who were friends to his father. A lot of them. He invested in that. Uhuru did not invest. Even when you say that he was a Mount Kenya person, he did not go to Meru to invest in credible, homegrown Meru political leaders. In Nyeri, he did not do that. If you want to trace him, even in Kiambu, somebody who was appointed in a key parastatal position or ambassadorial position either became his protege by being owned or is a person who had a pedigree of being a scion of who was around Kenyatta. So Uhuru did not invest.
Yes.
And I said it yesterday in my tweet, that if you go across the country, there are people who are groomed by Moi. Kenyatta did not have to groom people because they came through James Geshua and Tom Mboya. There are people who are groomed by Mwai Kibaki during the DP. If you go to Ebu, you go to other places, even in Kisii, there are people who are his allies by virtue of their positions. There are people who have been groomed by William Ruto. The people you see around him, they are nobodies if you are talking about all that. So we don't want to go to the dynasty hustler because I don't want to separate to that. But Uhuru made one mistake. He entrusted, even if you talk about the Morathes, I don't want to personalize. If you trace them, their fathers used to go to Ishaweri. And that is the people that Uhuru believed in. Today, he doesn't have anyone from Laikipia. He doesn't even have a Susan Keka, whose father was close to, because she befriended William Ruto. That's problem number one. Problem number two is that Uhuru Kenyatta, I consider him a brilliant man because we have sat with him and he can, you know, he did not institutionalize his presidency, the political party, even in the management of the state affairs. Can I tell you this, and I say this live on TV? For the 10 years that Uhuru was a president, you could not be appointed a board member of any state corporation unless his brother Moho Kenyatta cleared you at Peponi office.
That's correct.
God my witness. Moho Kenyatta did not have any position in government, but he had to sign. He had to sign every paper. So from 2013. So the question. Let me say this. So the question of nepotism.
People know what exactly happened to
the question of nepotism, the question of favoritism, and today, the question should not be whether Uhuru, Onsarigo, as you say, wants to prove himself to the country. He is a retired president. But the Bill of Rights, any law that may contradict the Constitution, is null and void to the extent of that inconsistency. So Uhuru has an option. He can play politics. The Constitution gives him the freedom to do that by the Bill of Rights. He's entitled to political participation. But then, he cannot take taxpayers' money in hundreds of millions every year. As a retired president, we fuel his cars, we feed his staff so that he can antagonize the status quo because he doesn't agree with the status quo. It is time for Uhuru to leave the scene when the lights are on.
But you just said he assented to that law. Yeah. So why would he defy a law that he himself...
Well, so let's transition this. The nepotism and tribalism and this unhygienic politics hasn't really left. So Uhuru is just one part, the smallest bit, because the whole politics thing, even to date, doesn't make sense. So leave one, the Jubilee and the Uhuru questions, just one question out of it. Makali.
Well, the hygiene politically, you mean?
Yeah.
I think, to be fair, apart from the situation that the country is in, which has generated a lot of disillusionment, the economics, the suffering that people, Kenyans are going through, and therefore given fodder to an opposition that would otherwise have had no agenda, in the form of the Maandamano coalition, we would be having a more quiet presidency. Because it is actually too soon, and that's where I have the problem with this whole politicking now. We don't even have the time or to give attention to the key economic issues or national issues that need to be tackled. an administration has just taken office, 6 months into that election. People even now have not gotten appointment letters who are public servants because the process takes time and so forth. But people are expecting a lot of things to have been done because we came from an election that was full of promises. Promises which were either unrealistic or they became unrealistic after the people who got into office. And so they need to manage the expectations of the people. But that time is not there because the suffering, the biting, hunger is bad.
Bakali, to be
so
fair,
people
to be fair,
have become, so there's pandemonium, there's chaos.